Hi, I'm Frank Caruso, producer of Oregon Life. In this week's episode, we have two great stories. We visit Meg of Dimes and Wednesdays and Girl Power Africa, so stay tuned. So I was in an office building, and in the corner I see this young woman sewing a pair of jeans. So I approached her and I said, "Would you like to be part of an Oregon Life story?" And she said yes. And the story is called Dimes and Wednesday. Enjoy.
I learned to sew when I was a small child. My grandmother taught my mom how to sew, so my mom taught my sister and I how to sew. I started with a needle and thread because I was a little too afraid to use the sewing machine at first. Just too afraid to stick that needle right through my finger. But I started with sewing doll clothes and random crafts, just kind of whatever I wanted to throw together. When I was about 15, there was clothes that I wanted, but I couldn't afford. I didn't have a job. My mom wouldn't buy them for me because, ridiculous teenage fashions. So I started to try to learn how to sew, and, I took home ec in junior high, made a couple small things, but I really wanted to make a pair of jeans. And I told my mom that, and she's like, "Don't you want to start with something easier?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to make a pair of jeans." So we went to the fabric store, bought some denim, bought a couple patterns. I mashed them together so that they looked the way I wanted to, made the jeans, and they were completely unwearable. They were awful. I still have them though, and it's really fun to look at them and see how far I've come in the denim that I do now. That's primarily what I do. But when I was 15 is when I really started trying to sew just more. That's when I really started making my own clothes. And then when I was 16 was when I decided that I wanted to have my own small apparel company. I remember driving around town with my mom, and if I'd see a storefront that was for rent, I would start imagining what my store was going to look like. I actually had, back in high school, doodled into my notebook what the floor plan was for my future store. But one day it just popped in my head, Dimes and Wednesday. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, stuck it to the side of my pencil cup, and it lived there for years. And when I was finally actually getting around to trying to start my own company, I still enjoyed it. And where it actually comes from is dimes are my favorite unit of coin. They're adorable and, they're valuable. And Wednesday is my favorite day of the week. When I was in elementary school, that was the day that our class went to the library. And so it's just kind of remained my favorite day of the week. And so two of my random favorite things, Dimes and Wednesday, came together for the name. And then a couple years later, I realized that you can go to school for apparel design and you can do this as a living. And so it kind of progressed from there, just sewing. When I wasn't working, I actually got a job, weird job. I worked for a net company up out of Duluth, Minnesota. We made fishing nets, and that was the first place. I was 19. It was the first place I ever used an industrial sewing machine, which is pretty much all I use at this point. So a great introduction to that. And then I ended up going to UW Stout for apparel design and development. After I graduated college, I saw that Project Runway was holding auditions down in Chicago. A few of my friends and I went down. We collected our portfolios and some items that we had made, and we went down and stood out in the cold weather outside of the W Hotel in Chicago waiting to get in. And they had kind of a screening at the front where they looked through your stuff, and some people were turned away at the door, other people were allowed to go on. I went in to meet with the judges. One of them was somebody that was on an earlier season of Project Runway, and one judge was Tim Gunn. Fangirling a little bit, but he actually handled some of my items and told me that I was very talented at sewing, which probably one of the best compliments to ever receive. Ultimately, didn't make it on the show. I was not fashion forward enough, which I kind of figured. I make everyday clothing. I make jeans and t-shirts, functional, wearable streetwear. Whereas I'm not coming up with the next most amazing thing. I'm not setting the trends. I am making things that you can wear for years to come. I got my first job in the industry working at Land's End in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. Moved down there. It was really awesome learning how the industry worked on a large scale. Being in school, you get snippets, you learn stuff, but not being actually in it, you can't grasp the entire concept. So learning how to kind of scale my business, my little side business I was trying to start, Dimes and Wednesday, I was able to see how our vendors overseas worked, how the home office worked together between design and technical design and sourcing. Learned just invaluable amounts about running a business that I could then go and scale down to my little operation out of my home. So I worked for Land's End for just over 4 years. After I left there, I went and worked in quality control for ShopBop. And it was kind of a flip side of the apparel industry where I wasn't on the front end, I was on the back end, receiving, all these clothes from amazing designers, and being in quality control, I got to have my hands all over them, look at the construction techniques that they use, look at some of these like couture gowns, which I don't do gowns, I don't do formal wear, but just being able to see the way that things are made at such a higher level was amazing. Just little tiny details that maybe nobody else is going to notice, but just puts that finishing touch on the clothes. That was awesome. And then also just learning how, the back end of things worked, and like working on like an internet retail environment also helped for my path to like getting my own website and kind of having a better idea of writing, the descriptions for the clothing and how to focus on the clothes for the photography and just kind of bring it all together. So it was, even though it wasn't the front end of the apparel business, it was still an invaluable part in my moving forward with my own business. Like that guy. After graduating college and working in the industry, I realized how much I needed to have a dress form, but some of them are pretty expensive if you want like a really nice one. And I got this lady off of eBay for about $300, and certainly not the highest quality, but she's come in handy. Had to pad her out in some areas just to make her fit like my customer base. In 2014, I came across a group of girls in Madison that were getting ready to put on a runway show. I ended up participating in it. It was at the main library downtown. I had 7 models, made all their outfits. It was an amazing experience being able to pick the music that my models were walking down the runway to, seeing the professional photography afterwards, having hair and makeup done for them, and just like the more drive that it put into me to continue working, just being able to see my stuff on a stage, my clothing on a stage. One of my customers who purchased a pair of my jeans back in 2015 contacted me just this last year saying that finally there had been a hole worn in the knee, And she's like, I've had these jeans for 5 years. I wear them 2 to 3 times a week, and I want to be able to wear them for longer. And I ended up fixing the hole for her so that she can get many more years of wear out of them. But just, you buy these $20 jeans from a big box store, and less than a year later, you're throwing them away or you're cutting them into shorts. And it took 5 years for a hole to wear into a knee of my product. So.
Good morning, Torhorst Insurance. This is Randy.
Torhorst Insurance, this is Christine. How can I help you?
Torhorst Insurance, this is Chad.
Oh, hey, Sean.
Hey, Sarah. How are you doing today?
Oh, hey, Jerry. How you doing? At Torhorst Insurance, we believe in Oregon. And we also believe in the important service OCA Media provides for our community. Torhorst Insurance is happy to support programs like the one you are watching. Your locally owned and operated insurance agency, serving the needs of our community for over 40 years.
You oughta what?
Feed me! You can talk. I got a talking plant.
I wonder if there really are people on Mars.
Well, who knows?
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Very often people email me, call me, stop me on the street with stories. In this case, I got an email from someone that said a friend of theirs was coming from Africa to Oregon, and there's a story there, and there is. It's called Girl Power Africa, and the woman that founded it, fondly known as Boo, went to Oregon High School. Enjoy.
My name is Boule Bablich Norke, and I was born in Liberia, West Africa, and to a father who was in the Peace Corps, Bill Bablich. Some of you may know him as Justice Bablich or Senator Bill Bablich, but he was in the Peace Corps in the 60s, and that's how he met my mom, and voila, that's how I came about. So in 1980, my father went back to Liberia to find me and bring me to the U.S. In 1981, I came to Madison. We actually lived in Stevens Point for a while because my dad was a senator, and as a senator, you have to live in your district. And so we lived in Stevens Point for 2 years until the Supreme Court justice position became available. He ran and he won, and we moved to Oregon. 1989, the war started in Liberia, and met my husband, moved to Minneapolis, and I needed, at that point I wasn't sure if my parents or my mom and my half siblings, are alive or dead. So we went to the Ivory Coast to find our family. While there, we didn't know where they were between Ivory Coast, Guinea, and Liberia. We could not go into Liberia because both Frederick and myself were on the government's blacklist, because we have been going around speaking about helping, going around lobbying with our legislatures to try to intervene in a war and bring it to an end. And because of that, we were both put on the government's blacklist. And finally, we go to Guinea and the Ivory Coast because we couldn't enter Liberia while we were searching for our families. In transition from Ivory Coast to the Guinea, we got held hostage for 24 hours. They confiscated our passports and everything we had and said we were there as American spies. 24 hours later, no food, no water, no bathroom, with people with machine gun just circling the car that we were in. They're just like going like that around the car, taking turns. After 24 hours, we got released, and we went out to look for our families, and we finally found them, relocated them into Guinea, and we came back to the U.S. now with a new goal. So from 1989 to 2003, there's this senseless civil war that takes place. And 2005, the war ended. 2003, 2005, the first female president is elected, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She calls on my husband, Dr. Norke, and says, I need you to come and help me set up the new government. So Frederick goes. First, I didn't want him to go because now our life is all getting back together. My family's here. Our life is moving forward. And then for him to like go back again was going to set us back. So I told him I didn't want him to go at the time. So he said, well, when the president calls on you, you go. And so I said, well, he said, let me go and try it. If I don't like it, I'll come back. If I like it, you will come and try it. If you like it, then we decide how to make the transition. I thought, well, that's easy. I've already made up my mind. I was going to say, I don't like it anyway, so no problem. Well, he went, he stayed. I went, and with the intention of saying, I don't like it, let's go back. When I saw the poverty, when I saw the need was so great. The little gifts I took for people, it meant so much to them that I started almost feeling guilty because, I mean, God, I was one of those that loved shoes. I had more shoes than I could count, you know? And it just made me realize the material things were not all. Giving back to my people, giving back to the people I left behind, it just pulled at my heart. And so I came back and I told my girls, we're going to move to Africa. And Leti, my daughter, was like, we're going to what?
So my name is Leti Norke, and I am the daughter of Boule Bablich Norke. And I got the privilege to move to Liberia, West Africa, and really just be hands-on and really see what the community needed and what the people in the village really needed. So it's been really a beautiful journey to be able to see from the very beginning of first arriving to Liberia, and now in 2021, just the progress that they've been able to make and even just create from literally the ground to now a beautiful nonprofit organization really making a massive impact there in Liberia.
So now we built a store, and I was selling coal and cement and soft drinks by the wholesale. And so as I'm sitting at my store, you know, every day I see these women walking back and forth, and usually just a little tray on their head or a little bucket in their hand, most of the time with a baby on their back. And so I decided to call somebody and just kind of find out what they're selling, trying to get to know them and see if they will open up to me. And with my Western accent, they were a little nervous at first, but then they really opened up. And after hearing some of their stories, I realized I have no problem. I took so much for granted. These women, a lot of them were raped during the war. Some of them one of them, her husband's neck was put on her lap, and they cut her husband's neck during the war. That kind of trauma. She and her children, they moved to Guinea, one of the neighboring countries. After the war, they came back to start over. Their house that they left is no longer there. And to start all over with nothing. And so I started giving them charcoal because I was selling charcoal, wholesale charcoal anyways. And a lot of them wanted charcoal because charcoal is easy to sell. It's Liberia with very little electricity. Majority of the people use charcoal to cook, to heat water and whatever else. And so I started giving them bags of charcoal. So after I hear their story, I'll be like, all right, let's take 10 bags of coal. You go and sell it and increase your business and see how that goes. And so little by little, I started seeing the improvement. I started calling more women. And before I knew it, I became the old mom, the old lady who helps women and children. So people will come and be like, oh, they told me to come to the old lady that helps the women and children. So I remember making a putting a post on my page. I wanted to see if I had any friends out there who can join me from Oregon, from anywhere, Madison. And so I started getting messages from my friends saying, how can I help? And how can I help? Laura being one of those people.
Girl Power Africa was born through Bula Bablich on Facebook. And my introduction to Girl Power was through my friendship with Boo on Facebook and her posting on a daily basis some of the trials and tribulates of what was happening with the women in Liberia, West Africa. She started to empower women and asked for some help from her friend group. As a business owner, watching what Boo was doing in West Africa, it became evident to me that we needed to put together some sort of a structure to help tell this story and to help bring awareness to the women and children in Liberia. So my role in Girl Power organically grew from my knowledge of running businesses and understanding what needed to happen to put the structure in place. So the first thing we needed to do was start with a name for what was happening, and Boo came up with the name Girl Power Africa. It was really uncertain to us at that point what exactly was unfolding. And so as Boo started to put together the programs that she was putting in place, I was in the background putting together the pieces and helping to tell the story. In doing so, we created a Facebook page that was specific to Girl Power Africa, and that helped Boo have a platform to tell everyone what was going on. In addition to that, we built a website to help tell the story of Girl Power Africa, and as the different components of Girl Power started to formulate, from empowerment to student sponsorship, to our box program, it was helpful for us to help tell the story of what Girl Power was doing and how people could jump in and help.
Hello, I'm Kim O'Donnell, and I'm one of the board members for Girl Power Africa. I got started with Girl Power Africa 2 years ago, where I started looking into nonprofits that I wanted to get involved with on my off time, and I found Girl Power Africa through one of my friends, Laura, and it's been an incredible experience beyond what I ever imagined. It's just an organization that is led by a founder that has a passion for women and children in Liberia, specifically to give education to those children that don't have access to it. It's been just rewarding experience beyond my wildest dreams. Even my son today said to me to make sure to tell Bula that her work is so important and that he is so proud of what she has accomplished and continues to support her. One of the unique things about Girl Power Africa is each of our donors gets matched with a student that they sponsor. So you get to know the history of this child as well as how old they are, kind of a little bit about their lives, and you get matched up with them. And we try every year that you donate, we try to match you with the same child. So you know exactly who you are sending to school, and it becomes part of your family as you watch them grow.
Hello, my name is Hope Mickelson. I am a part of the Girl Power Africa board, and one of my specific roles on the board is to connect with the community through the box program, as well as help advise the student ambassadors. Student ambassadors are students, generally high school students in Verona and in Oregon. And we work to find and collect all of the materials for the box program, sort them, package up the boxes, as well as fundraise to ship the boxes over to Africa.
Hi, I'm Carrie Phillips, and I'm the newest member of the board. I have been on the Girl Power Africa board now for about a year, and I am currently serving as secretary on the board. I chose to join Girl Power Africa after serving on another community board, another community organization, and I just was attracted to the organization because of its the way that Bula runs it, how it's very transparent and accountable to the people that it serves. And I just felt like I could contribute to that, wanted to be part of it. It sounded like they could make use of some of my skills. I do communications and marketing and that sort of thing. So they were at a stage where we're looking to grow the amount of fundraising that we do and be able to send more children every year to school.
There's a great deal of people who are interested in what's going on, and they have thoughts and opinions and passions that they want to share, and I think that's awesome. I think it creates a better product from the government side of things.
So when we talk about the library and building a new library, we talk about the building part a lot, but that's not really what it's about. It's really about people. We're not really just building a library, we're building community, and people in our community members are really at the heart of that.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Hi everyone, it's Frank again. Before I leave, I want to thank everyone for supporting Community Access TV, and a special thank you to Torhorst Insurance. Tune in again next week for new episodes. Take care everyone. Have a great day.